Hey, hello everyone. How's your evening? Let me make a quick announcement on Discord and then we'll get started. I'll kind of explain what's going on here. I think that's right. Okay. Make sure I can see the chat. Okay. Let me know how everything sounds. You can hear me, you can hear the music, everything like that. Okay, so last time we were working on thumbnails for the illustration. Working on one mainly. This one here. But I wanted, of course, to do a few different options. So that's what I was doing this in my sketchbook. Like basically every time I had an idea, I would do a little sketch. So this is a page that I took a photo of out of my sketchbook. So there's a couple of ideas here that I like that I would want to try. I'm just gonna like grab one and then kind of blow it up and refine it a little bit in Clip Studio Paint here. And then we'll just keep going and we'll see how it goes, you know, how many ideas I get. I want at least 3 solid ones. I think I have 2 so far. I think this one that I'm bringing in is probably one of the most solid from the little round of sketches that I did in my sketchbook. So that's why I'm bringing it out over here. Yeah, it was actually pretty fun doing the sketch. Going back to a bit of traditional stuff. That's kind of how I did all my illustrations when I was in college and stuff, is the sketchbook and like pen and ink and marker, Copic marker. So that's pretty fun. We'll see how it goes here. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Lurky, Nika, Evan. It's Hop. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'll explain like the idea here. Basically, so the other one that we were doing, right? This one is like, the idea was that they're like trying to find shelter in the trees. These guys have stolen an egg, which is right here. The Spino is angry at them and there's like charging into this area. And he's like in pursuit of them while they're trying to get up the trees and like defend themselves. This one is more like taking advantage of like the whole water theme, seeing as how Spino is a semi-aquatic predator. So the idea is like, maybe they were out on like a fishing trip or something and they're on some river, right? These are like some sort of canoe or some sort of fishing boat, and the Spino is like, he's like come up out of the water and he's like slammed his arm down. This is his arm, by the way. My little scribble. He slammed his arm down on this boat that had another group of people in it, and these guys here are trying to swim away. This guy here is trying to help, you know. They're just kind of like in a struggle and a little battle here in the water. Because I wanted to kind of convey, like, of course, tell a story, but also, like, not really show anyone having the distinct upper hand. Like, the Spino, yeah, he's done some damage here, but these guys are also, like, fighting back. I didn't really want to show, like, humans just totally getting owned, you know, or, like, the Spino totally getting owned. I wanted to show some sort of action scene. So that's what this is. And of course there's like the forest is back here. Maybe there's like some cliffs. Maybe there's a waterfall. Something back there. Or it could be like a village, like in the trees up here and behind. So we'll see. I want to like refine this up just a little bit more so it's more clear. Because it's clear to me, you know, because I'm the one who sketched it out, but I need to make sure that it's readable to everyone else. So that's what that's about. So we'll start in on this sketch. So I think this one has potential. I mean, I like the addition of the water. I think it adds a lot of dynamism. A lot of, you know, all the water movement and splashing. I kind of like how this area here is like the camera is like partially submerged here, so you can kind of see under the water a little bit. I don't think you'd be able to see very far. It's not like you'd be able to see the Spino or anything like. But, you know, I think it's a cool element. I did think of maybe we could try like a totally underwater scene, but I don't know about that too much yet. So we'll just kind of chill and try and make progress on this illustration on these thumbnails, and then we'll see what other ideas we come up with. I mean, if you guys have any ideas as well, feel free to suggest stuff. Yeah, we'll just get a move on. Max Mill, hi. Evan, are you excited for Iguanodon? Iguanodon. I suppose so. Do we have an Iguanodon? Let's see. I don't know if we have one. I don't see it in the playables on the roster, or maybe I'm just not reading right. So I don't know. Oh, just confirmed yesterday? Okay, well then that's news to me. Will the game be hard? Because I don't want the game to be too easy. I mean, I would imagine that it would be pretty, because you're playing against other people. It's not like it's just totally AI. So whenever you have a game where you have PvP against real players, I feel like that's gonna be pretty challenging. Because you're trying to outsmart, real people, not the game AI. So I would imagine it would be pretty difficult. I mean, every survival game that I've played where it's PvP against real other players has always been sort of a challenge. So I think so. In the official roster, the brown dino next to the Urano. Do they have like a silhouette layout or something? I mean, I believe you, but I didn't hear about it until just now. The Uranosaurus is an iguanodontid, I believe. I believe Uranosaurus is pretty closely related to. They're in the same family, I guess. So I mean, the more iguanodonts we have, the better, I suppose. I don't know how soon we'll be actually working on the iguanodon though. Lurky, what about a half underwater shot showing a Spino sneaking up on another dino getting water? That could be interesting. I think I'd have to swap out the dino, like the secondary dinosaur, for like humans, because we definitely want to show like the interaction between humans and dinosaurs in this. But the like sneakiness is cool. The like half submerged idea is cool. We could do something like that. We could try it. I want this guy, his chest to be, it's like tilted slightly. He's not directly like side profile to us, which I don't think I conveyed properly here. Like he needs to be tilted away. I think the sail kind of messes that illusion up, but I'll have to try and fix it. I'll get as close as I can in the thumbnail just to get the idea across, but if we do this as the illustration, I'll have to figure that out. Because it shouldn't be like a perfect side-on view of the sail. Because I think that's kind of boring. It should be like tilted away slightly. I don't know, maybe we could try some additional poses here. I like this pose. It like shows off the Spino pretty well. But it is like the first pose I thought of. And whenever that happens, I'm kind of like skeptical as like, because I always think maybe there's an alternate pose that I could figure out that would be better. So it's good to try it at least. I gotta figure out how this arm is working. Lobotomy, that could be cool too. I want to get the idea that it's splashing water everywhere. This arm is like slamming down here. So I do want to show the big claw. This big claw here. Be the elbow. So this would have a big splash here. Show that the impact of the claws into the water, and then we'll have to suggest, this will be the the like canoe or like whatever boat this is. And like a bunch of splintered wood flying in the air. So that could be a good shadow shape here. I'm always tempted to start including like shadows. It's good to figure out some indication of lighting to start here, but I don't want to get too bogged down in rendering stuff. This whole area here would be pretty dark. I'm trying to keep in mind like areas where you could place text, because I imagine that the logo will be somewhere around here. So you could place the logo in like that area, and it would be pretty easy to fit. It's not like cropping anything off or getting in the way of anything. So that's part of the reason why that's like quiet there. Meat sauce. Can you elaborate on the tribal style? For example, for instance, could they be Aztec, Zulu, Babylonian, or even Greek? I think I am going to have to do some elaboration on the clothing for the tribals, because we have multiple here, and it's not gonna look great if I just have like the same tribal guy like repeated over and over again in the scene, you know. So I think we will have to do some elaboration, but I don't think you know, this is just my opinion, right? Because I don't know how much we've actually explored this in the like in the game, in the concept art of the game or anything like that. So just keep that in mind when I say this. But I think we should try to like reference different tribal cultures, but not target one specific one. You know, it should feel like the tribe is distinctly from Echoes of Extinction. It shouldn't be like, you shouldn't be able to pick out like definitive like references, you know? It should be reminiscent of, but not exactly. But I think, I mean, yeah, we would need to reference, you know, get a lot of reference about different ways, like different types of clothing, different types of weapons, decorations. Do they have jewelry? Do they not have jewelry? Armor? Their hairstyles. I think and again, I don't know exactly how much has been done, but I think there's definitely a need for some world building when it comes to the tribals. Making sure that they feel like they have their own culture and they exist within this world, and they're not just like a generic tribal clan of people. but that all, comes with time. It takes a while to establish that sort of thing. For those of you who are interested in like world building and stuff, lots of that gets talked about in like the making of like the Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Like I think Weta is probably one of the best, I guess, studios, or like, yeah, I guess you would call it a studio. They're one of the best studios that does like this type of development with world building and developing cultural identity and stuff like that. They did a great job, in my opinion, with the elves and the dwarves in the Lord of the Rings. I think they also did a great job with the Na'vi in Avatar. Those guys really know how to take their time and like do their research and develop stuff that feels believable and grounded, but still looks cool, I'm trying to think of other stuff that has really good world building. Other IPs. I mean, FromSoft's games have really good world building too. The only problem with it's not a problem. It's just like they show their world building much differently. You have to dig a lot for it. Is the thing. So it's hard to like distinctly verify, but they do a good job. Hey Rumble, how's it going? Dune's world building. Did Weta work on Dune too? I'm not super familiar with Dune. But yeah, I mean the books are I mean, I haven't read them, but they are obviously like a very well-known series in sci-fi. Rumble, it's the same, like we're still working on like the splash screen, or like the yeah, I'm just gonna call it the title screen, type stuff. But it's just a different idea. It's remember, so last time we were working on this idea, I wanted like at least 3 solid ones, so we're working on this one now. I did I was showing this earlier, but I did a lot of, well, a few, I wouldn't say it's a lot, a few sketches in my sketchbook, and then I just grabbed one and we started refining it. People have been suggesting some cool ideas in the chat too, so we might try some of those if we get a chance to later. So see, okay, so this I really want to make clear because people need to be able to see that this is a claw and it's smacking this boat. And that was too messy. This might be actually a little bit of a difficult area because there's so much going on right here. There's the claw, there's the overlap of the boat, there's the like water splashes, all the breaking bits and stuff. So we gotta be careful of this area. If we do it, if we do pick this version, we gotta be careful. I had this idea that there was like a guy like on the Spino, like stabbing him with a spear or something. I'm not sure if I'll keep that or not though. I do like the idea that there's arrows in the Spino though from this guy. He's trying to support these guys who are swimming. And he's getting a few arrows in the side here. So I do want to keep that. Maybe he's also shot him in the... that would be kind of goofy though. Depending on where, because he just have like an arrow sticking out of his snout. Maybe it could be out of the side of his face or something. He's just like pelting him with arrows, doing whatever he can. And obviously, I don't know how much good that would do against the Spinosaurus. Maybe it would just piss it off, but gotta try. Did I ever complete this Peru skin? We worked on one on Saturday. Got pretty far on that one, but I still have a couple more to go. I don't know if I don't know. I'll have to talk to Islander about it and see if that's something that we want to do on stream or if I should just do that like off stream. Because I don't know. It depends on how people feel, but it's like once you see if people want to see like all of the skins being done, that's cool, and I'll do it. But if we'd rather just move on to something new, then we'd have to discuss what that is and all that stuff. So I'm gonna figure out how this sail is gonna look, because I want to make sure that it looks like it's leaning away from us. I'm drawing through the form here, so it looks like I'm drawing on top of everything, but it'll get erased. It's like it would be the curvature might be slightly different if it's angling away. Ah, Lurky, that could be cool. I do like the idea of the water. So far, that's my favorite. I mean, this still, if we decide to go with something more like this, that still works. You know, there's exciting parts of this as well. But I do like the water. I don't know, for some reason I like painting water a lot. Water, just stuff that like makes the environment interesting. So water, sand, like dust. That feels pretty cool to me. Like, because you can do a lot with it. You know, you can add a lot of motion into the scene, make things feel more dynamic. Yeah, that would be, that's exactly the idea. It's like a fishing party that got surprised by a Spino on their way back to their village, possibly. Because I think that I would add, these back here would be trees. So this would be the redwood forest, like some river in the redwoods. So all this stuff back here would be trees. So maybe I could show, depending on how tall the trees are, like little huts and stuff like in the trees, like back here, like their village is like next to the river and like above, like on this cliff face or something in the trees. Maybe that was their destination and they got ambushed or something. That would be the idea. Oh, that has color dynamics on that I don't want. All of these brushes have color dynamics on, I guess. Rumble. I'm personally a fan of seeing all of the stuff y'all do live. If I got time, I'll always watch. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm always kind of wondering, is like, do people really want to see the same process again or something? But I don't know. I want to keep people interested. So, but yeah, I'm down to do all of. We can do all of the skins on stream. That's fine with me. But we're almost done with the Puru. It's not going to be too much longer before we're done with him. So we'll have to say goodbye to the Puru on stream, and we'll see him in the game. Unless one of the animators wants to stream and show how they animate them, that would be cool. Tropio, I believe so. I think that is the plan. I'm excited for, a different model though. It's always fun to start new stuff. I think part of my favorite part of the process of like this whole thing, especially when it comes to sculpting, is usually the beginning part, like the blocking in and stuff like that is usually the funnest part. When it gets to like that mid phase where you're really just like detailing and stuff, that's where for me at least, that's where things can start to feel like, okay, like I really have to concentrate on getting focused and getting done, because it can be a little bit tedious, because that's usually where like you're starting to do all the scales and like all that stuff, and it can get kind of repetitive and things. But then it kind of picks back up when you start seeing the model come together. So it's kind of like a weird, it's like a high of excitement, and then it goes down and then goes back up again near the end. There's like a valley that in the middle of all that, where like for me it can be hard to work through, but you have to. What do you think of big pikes being driven into the shoreline and shallows of the village? I have heard of some real villages doing that to discourage big crocodiles from getting too close. Oh, that's really cool, actually. Like if you could fortify your village. I don't know if there's like a suggestions area in the Discord. Maybe you could recommend that. From a visual standpoint, that would be really interesting. Detail is really the tough part, right? Yeah, for me it is. I mean, it depends on the type of artist. I mean, I think every artist would give you a different answer, but for me, that's the part where it can really kind of drag, I guess. It can just feel like you're not making forward progress. But it's not like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm making dinosaurs for a game, so I don't want to complain too much. But it is like, it's got that ebb and flow, you know. There are certain brushes that I kind of wish I could see the brush shape. That's one thing with Clip Studio Paint is like no matter what brush you select, you see the oval and not the brush shape. Especially if you're using a brush from Photoshop, which these are Photoshop brushes, but they still like come over and do the same. They behave the same. It's just I can't see the brush shape unless it's like some sort of setting. I haven't actually messed with the settings in Clip Studio very much. I wonder. Preferences. Interface. Cursor. Or shape. Maybe. Let's see what that does. Ooh, okay. There we go. Because I get so used to like identifying each brush by its shape. Not necessarily it's like, because they don't really have names. But if I know it, if I know the shape of it, I know what it does. I get some tones in the background here because it's starting to feel a little empty. Need something with a wider influence. I'm gonna grab some reference of a forest really quick. Kind of want to see how the shadows work in a big cluster of redwood trees. Let's see. These trees are so gigantic. I mean, I guess it depends. It depends on the species. Yeah, this stuff. Because this is kind of like, see this? I hope you can see that. You can see my reference board. But this is kind of like the camera angle that I was thinking of for the first thumbnail. The like slightly downward angle, the 3-point perspective of that. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Let me see if I have it. Because those will be useful later on. I also wonder where those tree bridges are. That would be cool to visit. The Redwood Skywalk, Sequoia Park. So that would be like Northern California. That looks like a cool place to visit. Okay. Back to the chat. Let's see the chat here. Okay. It's always interesting. So with this kind of stuff that I'm putting in, and this will happen when if we do this for the final image too, but with this sort of like distant detail stuff, it's more about like suggesting details, suggesting that there's a ton of trees back there without actually having to spell out, like literally, paint every single tree. It's about giving the illusion of lots of trees. And that's a skill that can be very hard to master when it comes to painting. I'm not going to say that I'm a master of it. There are a lot of people who do it way better than I do, but I can do it, decently enough. It's something that's really hard for beginner artists to do, because I think the tendency is they really want to spell out everything. So they will literally like spend hours and hours like drawing and painting each individual tree. When you don't really need to. It's more about like suggesting the shapes of the trees and like letting the viewer's imagination fill it in. It's kind of hard to gauge too, like how from this distance how tall the tops of these trees are, and would we see the sky in the corner here, or would we not be able to see it? I'm not exactly sure. Might be able to see the sky. In like little patches. Up there. Then when we get here, these are pretty tall. I mean, pretty close. So we should be able to see more detail here. And we'll make these trees pretty tall because they have to accommodate the structure on them. It's kind of I wonder how am I going to indicate the depth? I don't know. Probably dark tree trunks, darker. And then like maybe like some foggy kind of areas back here that the trees kind of recede into. And then I could maybe hit the tree trunks with some light to show what I want to show eventually. That would be my best guess for right now. This over here, I was planning to do like maybe like some waterfalls in the distance. Just this little corner. So it could be kind of like misty over here, where like the water is like the water vapor from the waterfalls is causing some mist. Meat sauce. What do you think of adding smoke signal up in the village, implying they spotted the Spino? That could be cool. I mean, that could be interesting. A nice little storytelling element in there. That's a cool detail to add. I think this waterfall... So I could either go with like a big waterfall where it's just like one big sheet of water, or I could have like a multi-tiered one. It depends on how much noise I want over here on the side though, because if I make it too busy, it'll distract a lot. So I don't know exactly. I think maybe keeping it quiet for now would be good. I mean, we're just doing the thumbnail, so it might not be worth going into all the detail if there's a potential that we won't use it. Some of these brushes have weird color dynamics on them. I don't want to introduce any color right now. Okay, so I should work on this character up here because I have the dino, I have some of the forest, but I have no people. Let me get this silhouette of this tree in here really quick though. Just like some kind of random tree shapes just to like represent tree-ishness. Something. Okay. I've like painted over so much of my little sketch that I probably need to bring the sketch back so I can tell what the heck is going on. So there's our little dude over here. Where is my human ref? Okay. I'm gonna block him out like sort of like a crash test dummy proportions, like crash test dummy shapes. The bad part about this, I don't really like to show characters just in profile, because this is almost like a straight up profile. Because it feels flat, like it can be hard to light. It can just feel like it's too much two-dimensional, you know? So it'd be nicer if his face was more 3/4 like this. But then that's kind of weird because it's like, what is he looking at? Maybe I see him more from the back. That was kind of the original idea, is like I'm looking at the back of the character. I need to look at how an archer actually uses a bow. Ashley, hi, how's it going? Just tuned in to say you guys are doing an amazing job. Love your work, and I really hope crowdfunding gets you a lot so you can make the game better and faster. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, I got a couple good refs. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna keep perspective in mind because it's a little bit tricky. This worm's eye view. A lot of ways to pull a bow. Really like using the thumb draw. The thumb draw. Okay. You think I could find some good if I do a search of that? Would I find some good images? Is it like an overhand draw like this? You can see my hand. That's what I'm seeing here. Like the palm of the hand is facing down. That does look a lot different. Because a lot of the images that I was looking at, they're using like their fingers, like a sideways, like the side of their palm is facing down, whereas this part is facing down, and they got more of like a claw sort of grip. That's pretty cool. Sweet, thank you. Thanks for that suggestion. I think that would, yeah, I'll use that. You know, I'll try and add that in here. I'll do my best. If we use this image, use this image as the final, I think it'll be much more clear how the hand looks. But for right now, it'll probably just look like a mannequin's hand or something. Are you do you do a lot of archery, meet? That's one thing that I would like to try. I think it'd be fun. I need to make sure that my bow angle is actually pointing to something. Maybe he's trying to hit it in the mouth. In that case, I think my arms are not right, but nice, that's cool. That's a skill I wouldn't mind learning. Okay. This is kind of difficult because I need him to aim towards this guy, of course, but he also is in like a weird perspective. Like the perspective is going this way, and it's also 3 points. So I've really given myself quite the little challenge there. I really wanted to work my brain out tonight. Because one thing I'm trying to do, so it needs to, that's the tricky thing, right? Like it needs to look like, obviously he's holding a bow and he's aiming it, but I'm also trying to use it as a compositional trick. Because if I can make this this line point to something, people automatically look at whatever other people are looking at, right? So you'll bounce here automatically, and it'll be a nice like there's this I guess it would be a concept or strategy in composing paintings. You see it a lot more in like traditional like Renaissance paintings use it a lot. Baroque. Those kind of paintings. It's called the armature of the square. It's basically like he drew an X through your composition, and then you drop vertical and horizontal lines. If it'll allow me. Will you let me draw, please? It's mad because I have guides on here now. You drop vertical and horizontal lines. You can start pulling relationships between these lines and the composition. So like I just divided, if I do this, right, I've just divided my composition into quadrants. If I pull a line like this down to the corner, this is a third. Special ruler, parallel lines. This is a third. Or it should be a third. This is a third. This one. And then this should be a third. If I do it horizontally. This. But I would have to do it to get the bottom one. I would have to do this. And then this would be the bottom third. So you start pulling these lines all over and you get established like quadrants and thirds and stuff like that. Usually, if you do an analysis of like this kind of thing on a painting, especially an older painting, you'll see that, rule of thirds, right? Like focal points should line up on a third. So this is one focal point, right? This is another one. It's kind of a little bit off, but it's still in this third over here. It's also on the center line here too, so that's fine also. But like these angles, so like this angle, it'd be if I could strategically place something to angle that way towards one of my focal points, that'd be really good. And optically, like visually, it would feel really nice. You wouldn't really know why it feels nice, but it would feel much better than like other angles that you could choose. It's some interesting stuff. You can really kind of get wrapped up in it though, and you can like make there's people that use it really well and make it feel very natural. And then if you get too wrapped up into it, you can make things feel really like rigid. So, but it's nice stuff to know because it can help you out with getting your compositions to work or like feel good. It's also a really nice way to grid out a painting. Like if you're trying to blow up a painting from like a small scale to a large scale, you can pull a grid like that on a painting really fast. You don't need any rulers or anything like that. Well, you need a ruler to make a straight line, but you wouldn't need to like measure out like a grid square by square. It's some nerdy art history stuff. You're doing digital art as well, but for free. I mean, that's how we all start, right? I'm gonna get this boat in here. It's kind of a generic shaped boat. I don't know exactly what it's gonna be, but we'll we'll just get a boat shape in there. Mercy Junk 2. How do you feel about being compared to the Isle? I mean, me personally, I don't speak for everyone on the team, right? I'm just one artist, so I don't feel like I'm personally being compared to the Isle. The game itself, I feel like I mean, it's expected, right? Like, you're coming into a space with a similar game, like in the same genre, right? So I think it's natural to compare. But I don't think it really bothers much people on the team. I think there's a lot of space to do things differently in video games. Like, you might have a similar like theme, but the way that it's executed can be very different. I mean, I personally played the Isle a lot, and I had a great time with it. But I would also say that there were certain aspects of that game that I could see the potential in, but I didn't really feel like super fulfilled with. So for that reason, I moved on and I started to look for other games. I don't know exactly what the game is doing right now, but I think what we have going is pretty cool. I guess you could kind of compare it to being like if you're an artist. I've been compared to other artists in my space as well. I don't know. Sometimes it can be weird, like how should I express it? Like, most of the time it feels weird because I have huge imposter syndrome, and I don't feel like I'm as good as the people that I'm being compared to. So I'm like, I don't know what people are seeing, but thank you, I guess. But other than that, it doesn't really feel bad or good, or it's just like something that happens, I guess. Did I play Path of Titans? I did for a little bit. I didn't like the one. I feel like I was kind of unfair to Path of Titans, because I played that game like right at the tail end of when I was basically like exhausted. Like, I was kind of burnt out of like the dino survival stuff. I was right at the end of when I was kind of done with the Isle. I just wanted something new, so I did play I played Path of Titans briefly, like very briefly, but I didn't like give it a huge chance, you know. I don't know what it would be like to play that now. I mean, I did work with them, you know. I did some art for them. They seem like a pretty nice dev team. But yeah, I didn't really play it all that much. Yeah, competition can be good. As long as it's like not toxic, you know. Like healthy competition is great because it pushes usually both parties to be better. One would hope. But yeah, I hope that that's the kind of competition we are fostering. And from what I've seen, I haven't really seen anything bad. I hope it stays that way. Oh, thanks, Rumble. Thank you. Thanks a lot, man. Sage. Hello, how's it going? I feel like this boat feels too modern. It feels way too like I need like something else. It feels like he's like using some sort of like I don't know boats. Just very Western European, boat when we need something that feels more unique. I'm not exactly sure what that would be. I need to do some research, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't want to waste too much time. Where is my chat? Ah. There we go. Dank Hill, does inspiration come to you naturally, or do you find yourself thinking for a while about what to put on a blank piece of paper? It depends. Sometimes, I don't know. It like a lot of times, as long as there's something to like work from, like if I'm just in my studio and I have a sketchbook in front of me and I'm just like I want to draw, but there's like nothing. I don't have like a prompt, or I don't have like a like a theme or assignment to work from. it can be hard because it's like you can draw anything, you know. For me at least, it can be hard because it's just like so many possibilities that you can pick from to like as for subject matter and like what you could potentially be working on. That's when it just feels kind of aimless, I guess, is what I would say. That's when it can be kind of difficult. Majority of the time though, I'm working from like a prompt. Like I work for card games, so a lot of the times there's like a description that needs to be worked on, you know. Like they'll have like they'll be like, okay, this is the setting, this is the character, this is the general like action, and then they kind of just let me figure out what that's actually going to look like. And usually it can actually just be like a couple sentences, like, you know, just like an action being done in some sort of setting, and then I can like I automatically get some ideas in my head of where that could go. Sometimes it can be hard though. Sometimes there's just nothing that pops up in my head, and I have to kind of, maybe I do some research to like try and get reference to see what potentially could happen. Maybe I jump on ArtStation and like kind of poke around to see if there's anything that kind of sparks. And it could be anything. Like I don't necessarily like look for, like, say I'm doing an illustration of like a thief, in like a, sneaking around some castle or something. It's not always like I go look for images of other like similar like ideas. Sometimes it can just be like, well, this color palette feels really nice. I could do this image, in this color palette, and it starts to spark a mood, and I can kind of work from there. It can be just like shapes sometimes. So it's hard to say, but normally there's something, there's something to grasp onto that I can start pulling from. It's rare that there's absolutely nothing that comes to mind. In those instances, I'm like, oh my God, here we go, like this is going to be a rough one. But you just gotta work through it. Kind of looks like a rowboat, yeah. Dinosaur bones, yeah, that could be cool. I have to work on it. I do think just changing the shape of it a little bit would help, so it doesn't look so, like, just giving it some sort of interesting shape. And then like, we would have some like fishing nets or something like hanging off the side here. Maybe they have like their catch kind of hanging. I don't know why you would do that. Maybe that's not a good idea. You have your like your catch of fish on the side to just get snatched up by people, by some sort of alligator or something. Probably not a good idea. So we won't do that. But maybe they use like dinosaur bones to like weigh this down. or something. I don't know. We can have like some sort of femur bone or something. We could also like tie in the bones on the side here. Maybe they use it as like a structural support on the boat somehow. I don't know. This type of thing kind of, it feels like it needs like a design pass. That's kind of what worries me about this illustration a little bit, is because some of this stuff needs elaboration, you know? Because we had to design the Spino before we could even paint the Spino on here. But I don't think we have time to like design a boat and like a stuff like that. So I'll just kind of have to like design on the fly maybe a little bit. I think that, I mean, overall, for like placement and composition purposes, that mostly works. We'll have to, of course, be more detailed about things later. If we decide to use this one. Excellent. I can totally see how having an objective would make it a bit easier to think about. I can still be hard. Yeah, I actually kind of think of reference gathering as like its own sort of thumbnailing phase, because you can kind of eliminate certain possibilities just by looking at reference. Like you can eliminate certain, like, oh, well, you know, I don't think this costume design element would work. I don't think this pose would work because it's too awkward. I don't think the lighting and like this would work. But it gives you ideas to not try, but it also gives you ideas to try at the same time. So I consider it like an initial thumbnailing pass, like just like getting all these ideas of like different camera angles, poses. I'm kind of like compositing them in my head and like eliminating the ones that I don't think are going to work well, and then I'll try the ones that I think have like a shot, you know. Usually that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, it really helps to have like some sort of goal. Like the other day, I just wanted to do a study because I got some new brushes that I wanted to try, and I wanted so the goal is to test out new brushes, but what do I test it out on, you know? What do I do with the brushes? So I just went online and I found some I think it was I just searched like dinosaur mount, like skeletal mount, and I saw this skeletal mount of Stan, and I just sketched that for a bit. That was more like a study though, so those are really, it's not like you're coming up with something just, you know, out of the blue. You're actually looking at something and like trying to replicate it to some degree, but having some sort of goal is good. Gives you like a purpose to what you're working towards. What would you say is your favorite artwork that I have ever done that I got paid for? Oh, man. Favorite artwork that I have ever done that I got paid for? I think it would be a toss-up between two. There's two that come to mind. Let me go to my blue sky really quick because I have them there. I think they're on blue sky or they're on Kara. Did I put us on blue sky? No, it's on Kara. Yeah. Oh, they're actually side by side. So this one for Cyberzoic, I'm pretty proud of. Just because I feel like I kind of pushed myself into new territory with the painting. New approach to just the overall way I went about it. You can see this sketch here. It's more like a value blocking method of painting rather than like normally I go about it just like I'll do like a grayscale or something and then render it all out and then new color on top or something like that. More of I would call it more like a standard workflow where I don't think this would necessarily be considered standard. But this I feel worked out really well because there's a lot of expressiveness in here. Like you can see, like if you get close to the painting, there's like it's not overworked. I feel like some of my other paintings are just overworked. And I personally like paintings that have some painterly quality. Like I don't like paintings that just look like super tight, super rendered. I like stuff to have expression, stuff to have you can see paint strokes, you can see like random marks and stuff like that. But it all comes together to make in this case a dragon. So that's what I liked about this one. This one is one of my favorites, like especially the mouth, the way the light hits the mouth and stuff. It was a very complicated painting. Like there's a lot going on, so balancing it all out, making it feel dynamic, was really hard. So I like this one a lot, and then the other one that I like is this one. For a lot of the same reasons. I think it really made me push myself a lot, and I'm not necessarily like a huge like Dune fan, but just the colors, the mark making again, like the way that the sand feels, like the composition overall, I feel just looked very successful, and I really had a fun time working on this one. So yeah, I'd say those two are my favorites. When will the game be available? I don't. I guess we don't talk ETAs, I suppose. So I can't comfortably say answer that question. You'd have to ask somebody else who knows more about the production. Because yeah, I wouldn't know. I just know like what my little section of the project, how it's going, and what I need to do for that, and that's about it. Do I play the Isle? Not anymore. I used to play a lot of it. Well, I don't know. It depends on what you think is a lot, because there are some people who like have thousands of hours in that game, and it's crazy. But I have like 300 hours. To some people that's a lot. To some people that's not a lot at all. But this was like, I really played a lot of the Isle back in 2018. And then I stopped. Because, well, 2018 was like dominated by Monster Hunter World for me. That's a game where I think I have over 1,000 hours in Monster Hunter World. PC and console combined, not just on one side of things. Yeah, I need to work on this guy here. Okay. Let's get one of these guys down here going. Where was my sketch? I thought my sketch. That one. Oh no, here it is. I think. Right. I'm going to put a little bit of an isolation layer on here so that way I can see what I'm doing. This guy is swimming for his life away from the crushed boat. Oh wow, that's a lot of Apex Legends. Yeah, I think Monster Hunter World is the highest in terms of hours for any game that I've ever played. Make this very splashy. tangent there, so I'm going to move this guy over. Something that's going to be really important is so this space between the front of the image to the back, like the water plane is going to be very important because it's going to provide like a sense of distance. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make of course, like they're going to be waves, right? But the waves up here are going to need to be pretty big, and then I'm going to have to make them very small over here, because I have basically this space to suggest depth from between us and this guy, between us and the Spino. Like I have to make that whole relationship work, and this is probably the most effective way to do it, is just by communicating like the scale of the waves and like receding them, or like making them smaller as they go away. That's probably my best shot at doing that. So I have to be very very aware of how that all is going to work. Yeah, I think we all have. Well, I would guess that we all have that game that we just sort of gravitate to. For me, it's Monster Hunter. That's one game that I can play. Like I played it a lot with friends, but I can also play a lot of Monster Hunter just by myself. Apex I played a little bit, but it's kind of more, I feel like those types of shooters for me, they're more like social things. So like those are the types of games that I'll get together with my buddies and play. But we kind of like, we have gamer ADD, so like we bounce around to like so many other games, and we kind of get tired of, I won't say we get tired of them pretty quick, but like they do have like a shelf life, I would say like, I don't know, maybe a couple months playing a game before we're like start looking for something else. Right now we're pretty big on Night Rain. But I think once what the heck is that game called? Arc Raiders. I think that one was going to be really fun. So we'll probably jump on that. Trying to think if there's anything else coming out soon. Rumble, will Echoes of Extinction be the same way for you? You mean like lots of time investment? I don't know. I've never played a game that I've worked on like directly. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see what that does, like does it some people I know that have worked on games, like they get really excited that the game is out, but they're also kind of burnt down on it by the time the game comes out, like they've just seen and consumed so much of it. And then other people are just super excited to just like play what they've actually made. So I don't know. I think I'll enjoy it. The one thing about PvP, like PvP games, is they're just very unpredictable, that in a good way. Like you can never predict what another person's going to do, and you can it adds a lot of variety to the game. And variety is basically the key thing, you know. The more variety there is, I think the more life the game has. Either so variety, but also like skill ceiling. I think Monster Hunter for me, it might not be so much the variety, because of course, like, there are only so many monsters that you can put into the game, right? But there is a pretty high skill ceiling, like getting to know the monsters moveset and like the weapon moveset, and getting really good at, like, there's like the arena challenges that time you and stuff, and trying to get really good at those. The harder monsters that eventually come out that kind of push the boundaries of, like, how hard you need to work to get a victory. That sort of thing is kind of what keeps me going on those. But like, there are some games that are just PvP based that you can play a lot more, just because the tendency of people to do wacky things is, you know, is pretty fun. So I don't know. I think I'll enjoy myself. I mean, it's going to be really fun, you know, now that I've gotten a chance to know some of you guys in the chat, and being able to play alongside you guys and just enjoy the game. I think that's going to be... I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be really nice. This guy, I think I'm going to add another person. Maybe they're in more trouble than this other guy here. This is... It might be making the Spino look too big, but this guy's like... Maybe he's like struggling to stay up above water, and he's like reaching out for help or something. He's not doing so. We'll have to figure out each of these poses better, but just to get an idea. Maybe I could do something where like there's somebody like in the middle of like being thrown out. Maybe there's a guy being thrown out of the boat, or he like jumping out of the boat into the water. That could also be cool. Like he's like diving in. I don't know if I'm gonna do this guy here, because I had an idea for a guy who's like stabbing a spear or something into the Spino right there. But then it's like, how did he even get on the Spino? Maybe he jumped off the boat onto the Spino? I don't know. Could be overthinking it. there's another one. I need to like, I'll just leave that on because it helps with the clarity a little bit right now. But yeah, that's another one. We need one more. I won't be able to do that one tonight, of course, but we'll try and get another one. Hopefully, I want to start getting going on the actual like illustrations. So I'll probably have to do that, the final like thumbnails between now and next week. So by the time we gather next week, I'll probably have the actual like composition that we're actually going to turn into a final. That's the goal, at least. Yeah, I don't want to run too much later. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I'll be online again Saturday, working on the Prehistoric skins. Yeah, I'll see you in the other streams. If you want to stop by and chat. I think that's, yeah, I don't have any other announcements. So yeah, thanks everyone again, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.